Giant Size Annual #2 featuring the Werewolf Marvel Horror. They match up the monster of Frankenstein. The cover lives up to the hype and they actually fight each other. I'm going to go into detail on this one. It's a 4-part comic book in the giant-sized annual, so they were able to do a long story. It's pretty good. I give it a B overall. Let's start off in the beginning and I'll go through the whole story. Basically, Frankenstein, Marvel's Frankenstein, is roaming around mid-70s New York City, self-loathing, feeling sorry for himself, wanting to get a new face, obviously, until he hears about this famous plastic surgeon in LA. So he hops on a train, kills a guard to get on the train for action, and then the train ride begins. He eats a rat on the way, and then they're like, oh, someone killed a guy on the train in New York City, so the guy might still be on one of these boxcars. So then he jumps out the side wall, and the train's up against the ocean and a huge cliff, and it's just the funniest part of the whole comic is when his big body like jumps out and it shows him like bouncing off like halfway down the cliff and then bouncing into the ocean. So then he's in California and he stumbles upon this occult. And Jack Russell, the lead character, the anti-hero werewolf, his sister joined this occult known as the Brotherhood of Baal, the demon Baal. And this satanic cult is doing human sacrifices. She only joined to look for the cure for her brother, because that's the whole theme of all the werewolf issues is werewolf by night. He turns into a werewolf every night. And they're looking for a cure ever since he turned 18 and he inherited the curse from his family. So she ends up leaving and betraying the cult, and obviously they get pissed off and they decide to kidnap her and use her for a sacrifice. And then they draw the blood on her apartment, and leads to a clue for Jack Russell, the werewolf. When he's not even turned yet, he does some research and he figures out where the cult is run by this famous doctor, plastic surgeon, Datin Vela. And this is the elite satanic occult priest. And the monster just so happens to come up upon his millionaire mansion on the cliff on the seaside of the ocean. And the monster goes there obviously for a new body, a new soul, and he promised, and Vela, who was inspired by Dr. Frankenstein himself, his work was inspired, was happy to do it for Frankenstein. So he kind of brings Frankenstein in to use him as muscle, because Frankenstein's a meathead, so he can be like, oh, if you want your soul, then kill this guy right now. Or take this girl down and clamp her hands, because they're going to use what's-her-name as a sacrifice. So then that's what happens, and of course the werewolf breaks in, perfect timing, to break up the ceremony and save his sister, even though, no, then he's like, okay, kill the werewolf if you want a new soul. And so we get the face-off. Who do you think's going to win? I thought the werewolf was going to win. Who do you guys think was going to win? Alright, you want to know who wins? Frankenstein ends up, when he's in this position right here, Frankenstein ends up flipping him over onto his back and slamming him into the ground, WWE style. So the Myers fan probably would have been fist pumping if he would have read this comic, even though he doesn't even read. And so he gets knocked out, so then they go to sacrifice the werewolf. And then Frankenstein hears the satanic occult prayer, and he figures out that they're trying to bring Satan into one of the bodies, Frankenstein's body. So then Frankenstein starts raging shit and killing occult members and cracking skulls and everything. And then he unfrees the werewolf, saves him. So they both just start tearing up, and then they take the lead priest his first appearance and only appearance. He dies in this, the main villain. They throw him against the upside down Freemason cross, and it falls on top of him, killing him pretty much instantly. And then so the whole place gets burned down because they have, of course, like torches on the walls and everything. And they don't even show Frankenstein and Werewolf survive. The whole place comes crashing down in the ocean. But then at the very last shot at the end, they show the beach prints of Frankenstein's walk and Werewolf Man coming out of the ocean, like Freddy vs. Jason style. And you're like, wow. It lived up to the hype. It was pretty interesting. Pretty good dialogue in it throughout. Nice locations. Frankenstein Werewolf matchup, I mean, does it get really any better? I give it a B though. Could have been a little bit better, but B overall.